Let's get right into it. Number 8. Drinking water from a cactus. In every cartoon and old Western movie, the desperate sun-baked survivor stumbles through the desert. On the brink of collapse, they see it a majestic saguaro cactus. With their last ounce of strength, they hack it open, and voila, a fountain of life-saving water. It's a powerful image of nature providing for us in our moment of need. It's also a fantastic way to die a much faster, more unpleasant death. The truth is, that clear. Refreshing water you see in the movies is a Hollywood fantasy. Cutting open most cacti won't give you a hydrating drink. It will give you a thick, viscous goo filled with toxic alkaloids. Your body is already struggling with dehydration, and the last thing it needs is a gut full of poison. Swallowing this cactus fluid will, in most cases, lead to violent vomiting and diarrhea. Instead of hydrating you, it will purge your body of whatever precious water it has left, accelerating dehydration and leading to a quicker demise. Think of it as your body's emergency eject button for poison. Only a few specific types of cacti, like the fishhook barrel cactus, contain water that can be safe to drink. But you'd need to be an expert botanist to correctly identify it. Getting it wrong means poisoning yourself when you're at your most vulnerable. So, unless you have a PhD in desert botany, hacking open that cactus is like playing Russian roulette with your intestines. You're far better off conserving your energy and seeking a reliable water source than gambling on a spiky green chemistry experiment. Number 7. Following flying birds to find water. This piece of advice sounds so poetic and in tune with nature. Lost in the wilderness, you look to the sky and see birds gracefully soaring. They must be heading to water, you think. A surge of hope renewing your strength. You follow them, convinced they are your feathered guides to a life-saving oasis. The problem is, you have no idea what's on that bird's agenda for the day. Birds fly for countless reasons, and quenching their thirst is only one of them. They could be migrating, hunting for insects, heading back to a nest, or just enjoying a bit of afternoon cardio. Following a bird in the wild is like blindly following a random car on the highway, hoping it's going to your house. You're putting your fate in the hands of a creature whose priorities are wildly different from yours. A vulture might be circling carrion, leading you to a rotting carcass instead of a fresh spring. A flock of seabirds might be flying miles offshore to their nesting grounds on a barren cliff face. A much more reliable indicator of nearby water is looking for converging animal tracks on the ground. Mammals have less freedom to roam, and their paths are more likely to lead to a water source they depend on daily. So keep your eyes on the ground, not the sky. The birds aren't your guides, they're just commuters, and you have no idea where their office is. Number 6. Playing dead for every bear. If you encounter a bear, play dead. This is one of the most pervasive and dangerously oversimplified pieces of survival advice out there. It treats all bears as if they're a single, monolithic entity with one predictable behavior pattern. Acting on this advice without knowing what kind of bear is sniffing your terrified body is like choosing between rock, paper, or scissors without seeing your opponent's hand. It's a complete gamble. The correct strategy depends entirely on the species of bear and its motivation. The play dead strategy is meant for a defensive encounter with a mother grizzly bear protecting her cubs. In this case, she sees you as a threat. By lying still on your stomach and protecting your neck, you are communicating that you are not a danger, and she will likely leave you alone once she feels the threat is neutralized. However, if you try this with a black bear, you're in for a world of hurt. Black bears are generally less aggressive and more timid than grizzlies, so if one is actually attacking you, it's likely not defensive. It's predatory. It sees you as food. Playing dead for a predator is like gift wrapping a meal and lying down on the dinner plate. In this scenario, you must fight for your life, be loud, make yourself look as big as possible, and use anything you can as a weapon. Confusing the two strategies means you might try to fight a 600-pound grizzly that wants you to leave. Or you might take a nap while a black bear decides which part of you to eat first. Number 5. Sucking the venom out of a snakebite. Every survival movie you've ever seen has lied to you. They set up the dramatic scene our hero gets tagged on the calf by a vicious cobra. Without a moment's hesitation, their brave companion drops to their knees, puts their mouth over the wound, and sucks out the milky white venom, spitting it out defiantly. The hero is saved, and they continue their adventure. In reality, that brave companion just performed an act that is not only useless but profoundly stupid. Let's think about this logically. Snake venom doesn't just sit politely under your skin like a little puddle waiting to be siphoned out. The moment the fangs inject, The venom is delivered deep into the tissue, where it's immediately absorbed into your lymphatic system and bloodstream. Trying to suck it out with your mouth is like trying to suck the wine out of a marinated steak. You won't get much out, but you'll certainly damage the meat. When you apply suction to the wound, you're breaking capillaries and causing more severe tissue damage around the bite site. More importantly, the human mouth is a petri dish of bacteria. You are introducing a crowd of germs directly into an open wound, creating a perfect recipe for a nasty infection. And if the person doing the sucking has any tiny cuts in their mouth, even a small canker sore, then congratulations, we now have 2 people envenomated. The right thing to do is to keep the victim calm and as still as possible to slow the venom's spread and get medical help immediately. So next time someone offers to be the hero. Number 4, rationing your water supply. The logic seems sound, doesn't it? You're lost in the wilderness with a single bottle of water. Your instinct screams at you to conserve. You take tiny, bird-like sips, trying to make the precious supply last as long as possible. You feel smart, strategic. In reality, you're just turning yourself into a poorly hydrated corpse. Your body doesn't run on economic logic. It runs on biological demand. Denying your body the water it needs is like trying to drive across the country by putting 1 teaspoon of gasoline in the tank every hour. The car isn't going to get very far, and neither are you. Dehydration isn't just about feeling thirsty. It attacks your brain first. Even mild dehydration impairs your cognitive function, your judgment, and your decision-making skills, the very skills you need most to survive. You'll start making terrible choices, walking in the wrong direction, misjudging distances, or failing to recognize a potential water source right in front of you. Your body will also begin to shut down. You'll become weak, lethargic, and eventually helpless. Real survival advice: drink when you're thirsty. Maintain your strength and your mental clarity for as long as possible so you can actively look for more water or shelter. Dying of dehydration while you still have half a bottle of water in your backpack is a cruel, tragic irony. You're not saving water. You're just fast-tracking your body's shutdown sequence. Number 3, building a shelter against a rock face. It looks like a genius move, straight out of a survival manual. You find a large cliff or rock overhang, and you think, perfect, half the work is already done for me. You gather branches and build a simple lean-to against the rock, creating a cozy, 3-walled shelter. You feel secure, shielded by the immense power of the mountain itself. What you've actually built is a potential death trap, designed by gravity and water. First, let's talk about rain. If it starts to rain, that massive rock face becomes a giant funnel. Water will pour down its surface and flow directly into your shelter, soaking you and all your gear. Instead of a shelter, you've built a personal waterfall and a mud puddle to sleep in, drastically increasing your risk of hypothermia. Even worse is the risk of rockfall. The rock that seems so solid can be deceptively unstable. The cycle of heating from your fire and cooling at night can cause the rock to expand and contract, a process called thermal stress. This can easily dislodge loose stones, or even large boulders, sending them tumbling down right where you're sleeping. You went to bed seeking shelter from the elements and ended up getting crushed by the one thing you thought was protecting you. A far safer bet is to build your shelter a good distance away from the rock face, using it as a windbreak, not a structural wall. Number 2, eating raw food you find. The fantasy of the rugged survivor is powerful. You've managed to catch a fish with your bare hands or trap a small animal. Starving. You feel the primal urge to eat it right away, just like our ancestors supposedly did. You tear into the raw flesh, feeling triumphant and connected to nature. But our ancestors also had a ridiculously short life expectancy. And a big reason for that was the universe of microscopic monsters living in their food. Fire is not just for warmth. It's mankind's greatest sterilization tool. That raw fish you're so proud of could be riddled with tapeworm larvae or vibrio bacteria, leading to debilitating cholera-like symptoms. That frog you snagged could have skin secretions that are toxic, or its meat could be full of parasites that will happily make a new home in your digestive tract. Raw food is a lottery of pathogens. Cooking thoroughly destroys these invisible enemies, making the food safe to consume and its nutrients easier to absorb. The idea that you can just eat whatever you catch is a romantic delusion. In a survival situation, your immune system is already stressed. Introducing a host of bacteria and parasites into your system is like opening the front door during a home invasion. You might feel like a tough survivor for a few hours, But that feeling will quickly fade when you're incapacitated by violent food poisoning, completely helpless and unable to save yourself. Number 1. Punching a shark in the nose. This is the king of all macho survival myths. The ultimate advice for the ultimate predator encounter: a shark is coming for you, and your one move is to ball up your fist and deliver a knockout punch to its nose. It sounds simple, empowering, and incredibly cinematic. The problem: it's a low percentage move with a catastrophic penalty for failure. A shark's nose, while sensitive, is a very small, very fast-moving target that happens to be located directly above a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. Imagine you're in the water, panicked, trying to aim a precise blow at a creature that has evolved over millions of years to be a perfect killing machine. The water resistance slows your punch, and the shark is not going to politely hold still while you take your shot. If you miss, your hand will likely slide directly into its open mouth. You've just offered it an appetizer. The much more effective and safer strategy is to go for larger, more sensitive targets. The two best places to strike are the eyes and the gills. They are much larger targets, and a solid jab or scrape to either area is extremely painful and disorienting for the shark. The goal isn't to win a boxing match, it's to signal to the shark that you are not easy, helpless prey. You are a threat, and you are capable of fighting back. A shark is an opportunist. It wants an easy meal, not a difficult fight that could result in injury. So forget the heroic nose punch. Go for the eyes or gills. It's less glorious, but far more likely to get you back to the boat in one piece. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.